welcome to Love Matters. I'm your host, INEZ. Thank you for joining me. Today we're going to talk again about mission matters. Last year, some friends of mine went with me to Ethiopia. I'm going to show you the rest of that interview with Pastor Andrew Riley, who is the senior pastor of GPR, God's Plan for Rehabilitation Ministries, and my friend Dr. Charlie Spell III, who's a local dentist. I don't want to take a whole lot of time with my part, because I really want you to hear all that they had to say. They really had some profound things to say, and I think what they said will really inspire you. At least I'm hoping so, to maybe go with us on our next mission. And if you can't go, you can always help us out in various other ways. And we'll talk more about that a little later. I remember when we were there, you kept saying that you felt like God was you had a mission, or He was going to give you your mission. Do you feel like you found it?
I think that since I got back here to the United States, first of all, I've changed in so many ways. I remember, I could go to a restaurant and leave a little food on there. I take everything home now. I don't throw anything away. I don't mismanage anything. I'm so grateful just for the little things in life. And I feel, and I've been preaching that since I've been back, that this is what I want to do. I love the mission work. And just not overseas or foreign or abroad, but here in the United States. And that's something that we're working on, and hopefully will prevail.
Yeah, there are definitely people here in the United States, and it's almost as bad as they are. And it seems like, wow, you can go to some places and some counties that people have not heard of, and you would be like, this is almost like Africa, you know. So I definitely understand domestic missions as well. Right. So did you find your mission? Did you feel like
it was an extension of the mission that God have already given me? Because my ministry for the last few years have been with trying to bridge those gaps between society and those who social ills, gangs, violence, drugs, and alcohol have taken advantage of. And so it's been somewhat like Africa right here in Memphis in some areas, where the mother's not feeding the children don't have adequate clothing, etc., etc. But to go to Africa and see this at a widespread, across the country, every morning at 5 o'clock, over 1 million people getting up, going, trying to find food. And every time we stop at a stop sign, there's somebody standing there with their hand out, asking for food and saying, food, give me please, give me please. It's not like people who are mismanaging. People don't have anything to mismanage there. We can, I feel my heart goes out to people who are living in situations here in a whole where the poverty-stricken family because of no jobs or to some degree not enough to take care of their family in the way that they want to. But there, you're talking about millions of people hitting the street before daylight, hitting trash dumps, hitting the areas where they can find something to eat, and to get out and to go to the marketplace and be starving to death, and they won't steal. That amazed me. Right. They can stand beside a market and they wouldn't take anything. I left my wallet in the one of the places where we went. We were shopping, and I panicked when I realized that I had left my wallet in the tour guide, and the tour guide there told me, no worry, it's there, no worry, honor. And I, when I went back to the counter and they handed me my wallet and they bowed and said, your wallet, sir. This is the kind of attitude that we met when we went there to help people. Gratitude, they were grateful for the little, and it was like we really didn't do a whole lot. And in the ministry that God has given us here in America with GPR ministry, God's Plan for Rehabilitation, is that we're giving and we're helping in missions here, and it's a whole different ball game.
Yeah, I think because like what you said, it's widespread. Here we have pockets, but there you have pockets of people doing well, and you can go out anywhere. I know when we had a little snag in the beginning of our leaving because of a situation where I had believed somebody was going to set up some stuff for us, and then at the 3 days before we were ready to leave, they pulled out, and so some people, you guys started getting a little scared to go, and I was like, hey, wait a minute, we can go anywhere. You can just walk outside the hotel and look left or right in front of you, behind you. there's a place for us. You know, there's something, there's work for us to do. So I was like, I've been on missions before, and that wasn't my first time to Ethiopia either, and that's what really, really made me want to go back, because when I went before, I did go vacationing of sorts, and I was like, oh, I remember the dream, the vision I had as a young child, that I remember seeing them, and I was doing this, and I was like, okay, I definitely have to come back. So when you all, my faithful friends, came with me, I was like, oh, please don't back out. I don't want to go by myself. But when you all start, God, just like you said, he just really orchestrated it. And I am so grateful to God for that. And like I told you, they just worked like a symphony. And I'm usually the person videotaping, so a lot of times people are watching the broadcast, they're like, well, we don't see you.
Right.
No, you don't see me, because I'm the person behind the camera, and I'm shooting them, the work that they've been doing. And you've been looking at some of that work today, as well as you'll see some more as the shows continue, as we continue to broadcast. You'll see the handiwork of these two and some other friends we have who just did an awesome, awesome job. I want to ask you, what was the best part of the whole journey? What would you say was your highlight?
I'm going to tell you, when we went to the school, and we had, I guess it was hundreds and hundreds of kids rotating through the school, and we were cleaning the teeth, and we was doing cancer screens, and we were talking, and then we had the interpreter sitting there telling them everything. We were giving them directions on cleaning their teeth and flossing and brushing and all that stuff. And then at lunchtime, the bell rang, and they all ran away, and they were eating lunch. And then I walked outside, I got a break, and walked outside and looked, and they were brushing their teeth, and they was following the instructions. That opened my heart. That made me feel great. So that was one of the highlights.
That was my highlight. But it was actually when we were at the orphanage, right after you got through brushing their teeth, and you told them to make sure they brush after each meal, and they did not have to have toothpaste necessarily, so water and a brush would work. And I went back to just get some last shots, and I saw a little boy in the back, and he just got through eating, and he was diligently brushing his teeth, and I was like, okay, that made it
because they were brushing their teeth with little sticks. They had little sticks brushing their teeth. So I was just glad that they were understanding, and it was going through to them, and that made me feel good.
To put our hands in their head.
Lots of hair.
Lots of hair. And that was the highlight, of saying somebody actually want our services, and they're doing what they can to get in our chair, to have their hair cut or have it fixed. Our dollars are so important over there.
And they go so far.
8 to 1. And so, to be able to walk across the street, down the road where they get their water, have to tote their water back to the orphanage, and the kitchen that they had was really, I was in tears, where they had to cook food in the barn or stable where the cows were, and they made their bread and they prepared their food with the bark of this particular tree.
Eucalyptus, I think it was? Eucalyptus leaves. The children, they go out and collect the eucalyptus leaves.
The sticks and leaves, and they come back and they cook in the barn. And, before we knew it, we had volunteered to say we're going to help get some gas.
Yes, you did.
That's right.
We're going to do something. And,
it's going to be done.
And we really
were like, okay.
Every week we're doing this. We talking about, man, we made a commitment.
We've been talking.
Every week, every time we get out, man, we got to do something for those people. We got to help.
We will.
And so we're gonna get on our job.
Yeah, one of the guys who I dealt with, Abira, he writes, he emails me, he tells me that the children are starving, and I almost can't even read anymore, because I'm like, I'm trying. I don't know what else I can do to make this happen. So I've been asking questions, trying to find out, how do I get food in mass quantity to them? I can only do so much. I can send some cans and some dry milk and stuff like that, but their need is far greater than what the three of us can do. So we are definitely appealing to the audience, you the audience, to really, really listen to us and really open up your hearts and show that that love matters as well. Because these children, they don't have parents. Their parents have died at bays, and like Dr. Spell said, there's one elderly lady, she just gave up her house. She gave